would happen if Sonic was a hostile entity who consumed humans while having supersonic speed? Here we encounter the demonic Sonic, who has a never-ending appetite, leading to thousands of people going missing and getting consumed by him. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator, and welcome to the Sonic Tapes. If you have any video or game suggestions, make sure to send them to me on my Twitter. Without much further ado, let's get right into the video. An unknown threat has been causing harm to people in the local area. There have been several mutilations and reported missing persons in the past day. Authorities are currently investigating, and the people are warned to close their doors and windows and to be vigilant. A humanoid entity colored blue is terrorizing the area, breaking into people's houses and butchering them. This unknown entity is hostile and extremely dangerous. Through a security surveillance camera, we get a good look at this entity who lurks in the dark and quickly makes his way into the house of a civilian, breaking the window when we hear the terrifying and heartbreaking struggles of the victim having their life taken. This entity seems to consume his victims, being a savage and nocturnal being. In the second video, we learn about the backstory of this entity and where it came from. He lives in a different place which has different zones, where he lives as a wild beast, actually consuming the little birds. Dr. Eggman is kidnapping these birds by placing them in robotic and metallic cages, preventing Sonic from eating them. That's when this entity known as Sonic traces Dr. Eggman's hideout, breaking into it and killing him. He's furious that his food has been messed with and he doesn't take kindly to it. In the next video called Two-Tailed Fox, Tails is suddenly awakened by a sound which turns out to be Sonic, who attacks Tails but doesn't kill him. He uses his tongue as a needle and stabs him at the back of the neck. We don't really know what happens next until later in the video. Over the past 3 weeks, there have been an exponential number of missing persons reports. Several of these reports consist of individuals being taken right out of their homes. There are currently 946 people that have gone missing from the Hilltop County area. Not a single individual body has been recovered, meaning they have been eaten whole. Search parties have been sent out into the Hilltop wilderness, but many have gone missing from those as well. The public is in panic and hysteria, and the government doesn't know what to do. That's when we learn what really happened to Tails. The tongue action Sonic pulled on Tails in fact infected him with some sort of parasite or disease, making Tails also become hostile and metamorphose. That is why there have been so many going missing as of recently. Sonic has a large appetite, who wanted a pal to accompany him and help him out in his adventures of killing and eating. They would surely become a force to reckon with. Some of the search member parties had cameras with them who captured these hostile entities in action. Despite these images circulating online, the local authority has been denying their existence, which only makes the public fear the worst. We finally see how Sonic metamorphosed from a small cute hedgehog into a monstrous animalistic being, hostile and aggressive, having an insatiable appetite, always on the hunt to eat. Just in a few days, he alongside Tails managed to kill and consume 1,000 people whole. So at this point, it seems as if some sort of parasite or disease infected Sonic and made him start eating the creatures in this island. Learning how Dr. Eggman is kidnapping these creatures, he tracks Dr. Eggman, finding him in his lair when he eats him whole. This allows Sonic to metamorphose, getting larger, building a bigger appetite. He learns that this island doesn't have sufficient food and the birds are too small to satiate him. So he decides to go to the Hilltop County and start consuming beings looking like Dr. Eggman, essentially humans, as they are larger and would satisfy Sonic's hunger. At the same time, he infects Tails in order to have a companion and be stronger so no one can take him down. In the next video called Cry for the Forest, on November 14th, 2006, a police officer was called to patrol an area near the edge of the Hilltop Forest after reports of loud cries being heard. The officer witnesses something that he could never in his wildest dreams, a large blue deranged entity as tall as trees. Sonic is growing larger and larger in an exponential manner, with his hunger becoming more and more severe. At this rate, he could become so massive that even humans would not be enough to satisfy his hunger. He would have to consume entire towns. After running for a bit, the officer comes across a half-man, half-cow statue with the Hebrew writing reading King, which might be a reference to King Nebuchadnezzar. Unfortunately, the officer doesn't survive, with his body being found the next morning placed on the statue. He was mutilated, and despite being less than 24 hours since death, he started decomposing at an alarming rate. The authorities that saw it stated that the body looked like it was turning to nothing. When the authorities returned to the statue the same day, the statue was nowhere to be seen. The authorities finally recommend the residents should evacuate, yet they don't release the footage. We finally see a small clip of Sonic becoming so insanely large, to the same size as Godzilla. Back in the island, Knuckles runs around, noticing how empty the place has become, worried to what might have happened. He sees corpses of creatures. That's when he comes across Tails, who transforms right in front of him. Sonic quickly shows up behind him and starts chasing after him, enlarging and getting bigger as he runs, quickly capturing Knuckles.
What are you?
I am what I need to be.
You can't be Sonic. Sonic would never do this. And what did you do to Tails? What is your motive?
So many questions. Let me show you everything.
That's when this entity attacks Knuckles, as if intending to infect him as well, rather than eating him. Strangely, Knuckles finds himself in a blinding white light kind of void, with a voice instructing him to find the super emeralds and stop this entity from getting them all, as otherwise he would control the world and complete the ritual which makes him become the king. The next video reveals that Sonic has become too large and powerful to keep hidden from the public. The replicas of Tails have become too widespread as well, which means there are more than one Tails. This threat has become a worldwide problem, and not only for United States, which urges other countries to act immediately, as otherwise it would take over the world. The Hilltop County becoming almost a barren land with everyone abandoning it, Sonic seeks different places to hunt for food, having remarkable speed even at his size, clearing several hundred miles between Hilltop County to Station Square in a few seconds. His speed sends shock waves which devastate the surroundings. When arriving at Station Square, it walked around showing no interest in the civilians. It seemed as if it's looking for something, when all of a sudden it lets out a deathly cry. Sonic is so huge at this point that humans would be like rice grains to him. That's when he finds one of the super emeralds and disappears within a blink of an eye. Knuckles gets in contact with the authorities and suggests to go back to the time of the super emeralds. He somehow survived the encounter with Sonic, now planning to go back in time and collect the super emeralds to use against Sonic, as it's their only chance. Thousands of people have died so far, including many simply by the shockwaves of Sonic moving in hyperspeed. Tails has already started hunting and killing people in other countries as well. That's when Knuckles is sent to the past to collect the super emeralds. The next video shows how Knuckles has managed to travel 3,000 years into the past, arriving at the hidden palace zone. Here, Knuckles meets the clan leader or chief, who is guarding the emeralds.
You know you're not supposed to be here. Why aren't you back with the rest of the clan? Come to think of it, I don't think I've seen you before. State your name and your business here.
My name is Knuckles the Echidna. I am not of this land. I come in dire need of the Emerald's power. Huh?
I've been guarding those emeralds for decades. You're crazy if you think I'm just gonna give them to anybody who asks.
The chief instantly engages in a battle with Knuckles in order to protect the emeralds, as they have immense power to conquer the entire world, with the chief not knowing who Knuckles is. This is the first part of the past story, with more in the making.
If you won't give them to me, then I'll have to take them!
Try it.
So far we know that the entity in the shape of Sonic might not even be the real Sonic, but if he is, he has been infected with a parasite. But there is another theory that this is an alternate Sonic who has a deadly appetite. He enlarges after eating Dr. Eggman, who then goes on to eat more and gets bigger and bigger. He infects Tails and makes replicas of him. That's when Knuckles comes to the mix and tries to find a way to stop the Sonic and save the world. He is currently in the past trying to get the Super Emeralds from then in order to bring them to the present and save the world. We don't know what's gonna happen with the clan's chief, but they might come to some sort of agreement. And that's it for this video, folks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, it's been your host Star. Thanks for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.